Welcome back to my channel, everybody. Today we're going to be talking about Ryan Coogler's newest movie, Sinners. So essentially what this movie is about, it follows Michael B. Jordan, who plays these twin brothers who have a shady past, who come back to their hometown to try to make things right. And of course, along the way, they figure out that things aren't exactly what they seem. So I'm going to start off this review just by saying, do yourself a favor and please, please go see this movie. Go see it. Go see it in the theater. Go see it on the biggest screen you can. Go see it with a crowd. Go see it just any possible way you can. But please make sure it's in the theater because it's worth every single penny that you will spend there. This movie really feels like a movie that would not be made today. It has that old school classic vibe to it, and there's just not a lot of movies that come along like this anymore. And it's not only refreshing in that sense, it's also refreshing that, this is no spoiler because it's everywhere, that this is a vampire movie, but this movie also has a almost classic new twist on a vampire movie that brings something really fresh to the table, really something new, but still holds to those, you know, really well-known classic vampire lore that we all have grown to love, especially when it comes to really good vampire movies. As I said in the beginning, this movie stars Michael B. Jordan, this is their Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan's fifth time working together, and I think they get better and better with each movie that they do together. And this might possibly be my favorite Michael B. Jordan performance because this dude is incredible in this movie. He has to play two parts. So he plays twin brothers, and the thing that I think is so stand out about it is that yes, he plays twin brothers, but each brother has their own identity, has their own certain quips and their own certain ways of handling things and their own mannerisms. So you can easily tell each brother apart by that. And I think that was a really cool thing that he had to do. And I know that it probably was not easy work, but he put in the work, and it shows for it because he is absolutely incredible. The movie also introduces a new actor. His name is Miles Caton, and he is phenomenal in this movie. He plays the little cousin of Michael B. Jordan, and he is part of a lot of the musical stuff in this movie. And the way that he has to play the blues and sing about stuff, and his voice and the way he plays guitar is absolutely incredible. I know he's a musician outside of acting, but he is absolutely incredible in this. Like the first time that he sang, there's a scene in the car where he sings to Michael B. Jordan with the guitar for the very first time that I heard it, and I got full body goosebumps. And it happened a second time when they're at their event later on, and he's actually playing guitar and singing fully. It just, again, full body goosebumps. Just an absolutely incredible performance, and I know for a fact this guy will be seeing more of him easily. It's really all the characters in this movie. The entire cast that Ryan Coogler has for this movie is fantastic. It follows this group of people, and you care about everybody. I mean, you have like Delroy Lindo, Haley Steinfeld. You have a ton of these supporting characters, and they're all fantastic. They all work off of each other so well, and they all pull from different things, and it all works to their advantage because they all are so great, and they're all so believable in this movie. And they build up this stuff throughout the movie that you actually learn to really care and grow a concern for what is going to happen to these characters because you want them to make it out. And it's like the same for Michael B. Jordan's character. It is mentioned throughout. There's little hints that of stuff that they've done in their past and stuff they've been up to, and it's not all good things, but I think it's a great character study of showing that Michael B. Jordan is not a bad person. He's a good person with a good heart. They had to do the things that they had to do. And I like that story arc in characters where this person might have done a lot of bad things, but they're not necessarily a bad person, and throughout the movie, they're able to redeem themselves in some way. I also want to touch on the music of this movie because I feel like the music is easily a secondary character in this movie all of in itself. Like the music from the start to the end of this movie is absolutely phenomenal. It's a lot of blues music, and I know Ryan Coogler said this was he wanted to pay homage to his it was either his uncle or his grandfather that loved the blues, and like I said, the music is phenomenal. There is a sequence earlier on in the movie where they're having this big get together, and there's a quote in the movie, and don't hurt me if I because I know I'm gonna get this wrong and butcher it, but something about if you're good enough and if you're born to play music, it will speak to the past and the dead and everything like that and the future. And while that quote is going on, and when the character of Sammy starts playing his music, it starts to combine that type of music with some newer music and blends, and and it just blends all these genres together, and it also starts showing like past people, present people, and stuff, and how different cultures of music have come together, and how now a lot of stuff is blended together. And I'm normally not one for a lot of stuff like that when it comes to blended music, because it reminds me more of like remixes and stuff, and I'm not really huge on remixes, which I know I might be the odd man out on that. But it was such a cool sequence in this movie that I thought it played off and it worked fantastic. It might not work for a lot of people because it might feel like it kind of takes you out of it, but I thought it was really well done and really well executed, and I had a it was a really awesome sequence. I also love the time period that this is set in. This is set in Louisiana in 1932, and I have such a love for like these period piece movies. Same with like movies like I've talked about before with like being in the 80s and 70s and stuff like that. And I just think I have such like nostalgia for movies like this because these were the movies that my dad grew up showing me. They were always set in like the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and stuff like that. And I think because of that, I've carried that nostalgia over with me. And I don't know, watching this movie set in that time era, I felt like I don't know, I felt this calmness, almost like this warm, cozy blanket. Like it's almost like a comfort. Like times were simpler. Obviously, not what they're going, through in this movie, but I don't know, something about it was just very comforting to me, and I find myself having that feeling a lot when I see certain movies like this. And I always tell people I think I was born in the wrong era. So I love the time period. I think it works so well, and I love the setting. And something about the setting, the time period, mixing it with vampires, it was perfect. And now talking about the vampires real fast, awesome. I think the look of them is awesome. I love the glowing eyes and the classic vampire tropes, if you will, if you want to call it that. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the review about how they have to be invited in and things like that. And I love movies that have different takes on that. Some pretty good blood and gore throughout this movie. There's a couple of scenes that kind of shocked me and caught me off guard. Not only does it have that old school vampire feel to it, but it's also got that like that suave, cool sexiness feel to it that a lot of older vampire movies have, that they kind of did away with that in some newer adaptations, or they've kind of done it in a different way that didn't really feel like a classic vampire movie, if that made any sense, or a classic vampire tale. And I feel like with the way that Ryan Coogler has directed it in this movie and the way that the actors portray it in certain parts, I think it's done in that vein to where it just feels like this old school movie. If you are a fan of other horror movies, there are a couple of nods to certain movies in this one in particular, and it's because I think Ryan Coogler even mentioned that there was 4 particular horror movies that he drew inspiration from, and one of them being From Dusk Till Dawn, and I can feel a lot of that throughout this movie. I can feel a lot of that vibe throughout it, and there's even a homage to The Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing in this movie that I thought that was awesome, because as soon as the scene came up and it was like almost this homage to it, I was like, ee! So it was like this, it's just it's thrown in there for homage and the love of it, and I think it'll really appeal to fans of those movies, and I think it's a nice little treat to have in the middle of this, and it works so well. And not only is it a homage to it, but he made it his own in his own way, and it was so well done, and I'm so grateful for that. I'm so thankful that he was able to put something like that in there, because it's like I said, it's just this little treat for us horror fans. I know they used some newer technology on this movie with some of the cameras and stuff, especially the way they had to shoot Michael B. Jordan when he had to do like scenes. And I'll tell you right now, the scenes where like they're together in the same frame, it's flawless. You could never tell. Like I got so invested in this movie, I honestly forgot that they were the same person. It was honest to God like I was watching two twin brothers go back and forth, because I couldn't. You just it's so flawlessly done. You just forget about it after so long. And the way that some of the stuff is done visually, like the way that some of the sets are set up, and the way some of the background shots are, and the way that the camera movement goes for certain shots, it's just so beautifully done, and it just looks incredible. That's why I'm trying to really, really push for people to go see this movie in theaters for sure, because I know a lot of people try to wait for stuff for VOD, but this is a movie that needs to be seen on the big screen. And I will say, I really, really love the story of this movie, because the whole first act is following Michael B. Jordan as they're trying to come back to their town and make things right again, and it really sets you up for to care about them and all these other side characters. So it almost feels like a completely different movie. And then in the second act, when the stuff with the vampires kick in, it's like that From Dusk Till Dawn feel. Spoiler alert, where it's like that movie just turns just like that, just out of nowhere. And it's so good because you've set these characters so much up in motion that you're like, yeah, I'm fully on board. I'm fully invested. I have to see how this ends. And besides everything that's going on with the vampires, regardless, I'm fully invested in in the other character stories alone. Even if there wasn't vampires involved, it could be just a normal drama, and you would still be drawn into this story of what's going on with these characters. That I want to say there's a certain message that I really loved in this movie, and this is no spoilers, but Sammy, the character that's the little cousin, he loves music. He wants to play music, and as somebody that loves music as much as I do, I really, really latched onto that and his character in that regards, because he's the son of a preacher that wants him to do other things, and there's something that comes full circle at the end of the movie that just shows you that his love for music is so strong, and he's going to hold on to that, and you just can't let go of that. And I feel like, especially if you are a musician and you have music in your bones and it's just embedded as a part of your soul, I really believe that you will latch on to that character, because it's something you can never really give up. And I love the fact that come hell or high water, he's not giving that up, even despite all the shit that goes on in this movie. He's not giving it up, and I love that, and I like I said, that really connected with me on a personal level, and I just thought like his character was so well done, and like I said, it was played beautifully, and I love that little nugget of that. I have to say, this is probably my favorite film of the year so far, because I'll admit, last year, like I've said in many other videos, not a lot of movies connected with me last year. I don't know what it was, and so far I've seen over 30 movies so far this year, and while I've really enjoyed some, none of them has hooked me into that feeling where I've been like, this is something. And when I walked into this movie, I was like, I really hope that I like it. And I walked out and I was like, damn, that movie was phenomenal. And it gave me that feeling that I was looking for. So I highly, highly encourage people to please go see this movie. Try to avoid the second or third trailer, whichever one came out, because it does show a little bit too much. Thankfully, I was able to avoid it. And I think that did help my experience of not knowing certain things. So if you can, go into it as blindly as possible. I mean, they did do like a little teaser trailer when it was first coming out, and that's fine. But if you're into like it just I don't know, this feels like an old school type movie that doesn't get made anymore, and it's an original story on top of it. So with those two things combined, I'm very happy that Warner Brothers gave Ryan Coogler the green light to do this and was actually had the balls to stand behind him to distribute this and really put it out there. And I really, 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 really hope it makes money because it shows the studio that yes, we want more original content and we want more original stories. And I feel maybe I'm hoping with the star power of Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan, people will go see this. But if anybody clicks on this review, if you don't listen to a word I say, that's fine. Just listen to the one thing of please go check out this movie in the theater. Please, please, please. I don't really have any negatives or nitpicks when it comes to this movie because I'll be honest, I was kind of really drawn in and thrown into this world from the beginning, and because of that, you follow these people and you want to know what's going to happen. And I I had no problem with pacing or anything like that. Some people might be a little on the fact that the vampire stuff doesn't come until later on, but I think because it builds this story and you care about all these characters so much that when the vampire stuff does happen, it's more effective because now you're invested. You want these characters to make it out. You care about them, and that's just great storytelling, in my opinion. Like you don't want to blow your whole wad in the first minute of the movie, then you're just kind of left with, well, now what? So I'm glad it's able to build on these characters and build something that you have something to latch on to, so you care, and that's the most important thing. If you do not care, what's the point? So please, I highly encourage yet again, everybody, please go see this movie. It is so worth it, so worth your time, your money. I know it'll be a good time. Have fun with it. This is a movie that I think literally everybody will love. I just think this movie's got something in it for everybody, and Ryan Coogler knows how to do that. He knows how to tell these human stories with these people, even though there's vampires in it. So kudos to him. He's a great writer, great director, and yeah, please go see it. Well, everybody, that's my review for Sinners. So please, if you haven't yet, check out some of my other reviews. I'll leave a little card up here for all my 2025 reviews so far. It'd be much appreciated. If you like what I'm doing, please come on over to the channel and please like, subscribe. And if you've seen Sinners or planning on to see Sinners, please let me know if you're excited or what you thought of the movie in the comments down below. And until next time, everybody, I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much.